Welcome back to the Daily Move. Today we're trying something a little bit different, doing mobility work with a little bit more cardio conditioning, so to get your heart rate up. Let me know what your thoughts are. What you're going to need is something for targets. So I use 3 rolls of toilet paper, but anything would work, even 3 water bottles. And then a stick, although the stick isn't mandatory, but yeah, a stick to put onto your hips if you have that available. And I use a hockey stick for that. All right, guys, all you need is some space, the hockey stick, and 3 marker points. And let's get started. First, we're gonna start out on our butt, and you're gonna take your legs out in front of you. All you're gonna do is turn the legs in and then turn them out. So what we're looking for here is not so much that our feet are turning in and out, but that up here at the thigh bones are turning in and turning out. Now spend some time on just one leg, just exploring how much it's moving in comparison to the other leg. Do you find that one side is stiffer or harder than the other side? Are they equal? Try doing them together. So now you're gonna cross one leg over the other leg. You're gonna bend the knee. We're gonna take the heel that's on top and drop it down. As you're doing that, really pushing this knee away from your body. You should feel this into the glutes. Switching sides, we're gonna do the same thing. Now both legs are about hip distance apart or even wider, and what we're doing is we're windshield wipering the legs. So I'm bringing them down, coming back up, going to the other side, and I'm supporting myself by having my hands behind my back. If you want to make this more difficult, you can actually sit up and just allow the legs to swivel without using your hands. So now we're going to go a little bit wider with this move, almost into a 90-90 position. You're going to lean forward on top of one leg. You're coming back, switching legs, and then leaning forward. To make this easier, just have your hands behind your back, supporting yourself as you create that. By leaning back, you create more space into the hips, which makes it easier. By having a nice tall spine as you're moving through this is going to shorten that angle into the hip socket, making it a little bit more difficult. So now stay here, keep the front knee down, lift up that back leg, see how high you can bring it up. Bring it back down, lean on top of that other leg, lean back, switch sides, same thing. So I'm leaning in front of the front leg there. Now I'm picking up my back leg, bringing it back down, and then swiveling around. So being respectful of how much space you actually have there. You don't want to force anything. Now on this one here, it's important to check in between the passive and active range. So lift up, see how high you can. Can you lift up higher using your other leg or your arm? Hold it there for a second before you bring it down. Switching sides, lift it up, see how much higher you can bring it passively. Hold it there, bring it down. So again, don't force it. Whatever is there. So yes, I'm helping it out, but I'm not trying to like reef on it and make that joint go into a position it's not ready for. And back to center. So now this time, when you go towards the side, you're gonna lift up, bringing the hips up, coming back down, moving the legs to the other side, and lifting up. So now that you're here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this back leg, you're gonna sweep it around, get into that hip flexor stretch, sit back down, swivel that leg back, and then we're gonna switch sides. Take this leg here, sweep it around, tuck the pelvis under, feel a good stretch into that hip flexor, and come back down. So next what we're gonna do is we're gonna rock down. But first, you're gonna take your hands and you're gonna walk down your legs. As you're doing that, you're really arching the back. You're trying to get it so that one vertebrae at a time starts hitting the ground. Now tucking that chin, one vertebrae leaves the ground and you're using your hands to walk yourself back up. Really tucking, really rounding, pressing that spine down. Tucking that chin and coming back up. So now with that rounding that we just practiced, that's how you're going to lay on your back. So we're going to go into a tuck roll where you're rolling down like so, and then you're coming back to seated. So you're tucking back and back up. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into a butterfly pose and reach out. So you're going like this, going into a butterfly pose, leaning yourself forward. We've got two like that. And now, when you come up, you're gonna actually plant your feet hip distance apart and you're reaching through, opening up those hips. Now what you're gonna do is use your hands on the ground to kind of push yourself back up to see if you can stand up. It's okay if you need your hands on this. So you're leaning back, using your hands, seeing if you can get onto your feet and standing up. Coming back down, using my hands, pushing off to the ground, standing back up. So on this next one here, we've already done two. Once we stand back up, we're gonna go into a lunge and then lunge. Going back down, using your hands to get up. Start with the opposite leg, going into a lunge, into a lunge. Okay, we're gonna change it up again. So you're rolling, using your hands to come on up. This time we're gonna take this leg here. We're going backwards. So you can see I swept the leg behind the other leg, going down, feeling a good stretch. Same thing, taking that leg, sweeping it around, feeling a good stretch. Going back down into that rolling position. Starting with the leg that you stopped on last time, feeling that stretch. And again, feeling that stretch. So now what we're gonna do is go into a straddle stance here. Go as wide as you feel like you can still sit up nice and tall. We're going to lean forward, and some people can get their chest to the ground. I can, so you're just gonna work with what you have. So I'm leaning forward, then I'm coming back. I'm then going to lean to one side and open up. So it's almost like I'm taking a steering wheel, driving up. That's 2, we're gonna go for 5. Going back to center. Going to the other side. You've got 5 of those opening the wheels. Now, as you sit in center here, what you're gonna do is we're gonna turn those legs in again coming from the femur, so the legs, not just the feet turning in, and just turning them in and out. And now seeing if you can go any further into that reach. Going to the side that you stopped at, we've got 5 more. Coming back to center. And then to the other side. Coming back to center. And then wiggling those legs, turning in and back out. So next what we're gonna do is we're gonna cross our legs like this. We're going to lean our body forward, walk over to one side. Now you can walk straight over like this. I prefer to take my hand and reach on top. I feel like I get a deeper stretch, but play with where it's stiff on you. Once you come back to center, you're gonna take this leg here, you're gonna sweep it around and then bring it back 5 times. So this was the leg that was in front, so now you're gonna switch legs. We're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna lean forward, walk your way one way. If you want, you can open up the arm. You could always stay down. Other side, same thing. And now we're gonna work this leg here. So I'm opening that leg up, kicking it back, and bringing it forward 5 times. So next from this position here, we're gonna go into a crab. So your feet are out in front, your hands are back here. And we're just gonna kind of stir the pot with our butt. And what that's gonna do is just put different pressure into our wrists. We're just warming them up. Now you can see I'm just changing my hand positioning just to get into the wrists a little bit differently. So now if you use your heels to pull your butt away, you're gonna feel that into your chest, a little bit into the bicep. Do some walking around. So this is pretty random. You can walk in any pattern that you want. You can lift the hips up. You can keep your hands down and then just move your feet around. I always like to sit my butt down, put my hands the opposite way, lean back and pull my chest forward. So next you're gonna lift up your hips, you're gonna take your opposite arm and you're gonna reach across, opening that front body, coming back down, opposite side, same thing. Just doing to a side here. So now you're onto your back, legs are into the ground. What you're gonna do, it's actually perfect if you've got a stick or something across your hips just to watch the level. You're gonna lift up your hips like so, make sure your hip bone stays square, and we're gonna march the leg up and then the other side up without having any tipping of the pelvis. So we're gonna go for 5 a side here, so 10 in total where you're lifting up.
Once you've done 10, what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll on the shoulder and reach across. So as I lift up my hips, I'm going to reach over top of my head. We're gonna go for 10 again, 5 aside. We're gonna do 2 rounds of that. So we're gonna go back to that glute bridge. You're gonna lift up a knee. You can lift up a leg too, that's another option. That'll actually make it harder because it's more weight for you to combat. Whatever feels good, we're just trying to move our body here. So 10 in total. And then you're gonna take your arm and reach behind. So next we're gonna sit on up. We're in a kneeling stance here. You're gonna put one leg out and we're getting the hip flexor, but what I really care about is the ankle. So what I'm doing is I'm actually pushing my knee into different directions here and just warming up that ankle. And yes, you're gonna feel a little bit of the hip flexor onto the opposite side there. So we're trying to warm up that ankle. If you want, you can even go into a deep squat here and then press the heel down as you lean on top. So next we're gonna go into a squat here. We're pushing our knees down. As we do that, we're actually flexing our big toes. So our big toes are gonna be bending in this position here, pushing the knees down. You should feel a little bit of a stretch behind the bottom of the feet. Now I do find this stretch more effective in bare shoes, or sorry, bare socks. The shoes kind of inhibit it a little bit, but I'm still getting a good stretch here. So this is getting the back of the feet warmed up. And now we're gonna get tops of the feet warmed up. So I'm pushing my toe down and I'm kind of dragging it forward, putting it into different positions here. So we're gonna go back into that rolling one, but when we come up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into a figure 4. So as you can see, it kind of looks like the number 4 in my legs. That way, what it's going to allow me to do is come up into a kneeling position. But then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna really reach, putting pressure into the ankle here, pushing my heel down towards the floor as I reach in any direction, just to kind of open up those ankles even further. So you're gonna roll back, remember to round that spine. Doesn't feel good when you go flat. When you come up, one leg down, the other leg is going to reach. You're gonna start leaning forward, putting pressure into that ankle, coming back down, rolling, We're gonna switch sides. So you can go straight out from the knee, but you can also angle it as well. So that all of a sudden my knee goes out to the side as I press. We wanna stress it out in different angles here. So it's good to prep the body in as many different ways as we can think of. And the reason for that is kind of like doing a test, right? You're only going to do well on things that you know. If you've never been taught them, of course, the likelihood of you getting that correct is not going to be very high. And so it's the same thing with our bodies. If we start teaching it that this is an okay range of motion that we have control over, the likelihood of when it gets stressed by accident, like when you roll on a curb or off of a route, the likelihood of the body being able to respond appropriately is a lot higher. All right, stand around up. We got some walking, so just up onto the toes, onto the heels. On the outside. And onto the inside. So next we're going to go into a spinal wave. And so for this spinal wave, what you want to think about is your spine being a snake, and we're trying to create a wave with that snake. We're going to start in a child's pose position, but then we're going to go into a plank position. So what you're going to do is you're going to push your hips back, and I'm tucking my pelvis under to start that wave. We're always going to start at the pelvis and then have the head move last. So you're leaning back into this child's pose position. You're tucking that pelvis under. You're trying to round vertebrae by vertebrae. And as you come forward, you're going to start putting your weight into your wrists. And then as you hit this part here, as it gets into the neck is going to start looking up. You're going into more of a spinal extension. Then you're tucking your chin down. And then we're going to start rounding the spine. Round, 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 round. Keep rounding all the way back into the child pose position. So starting at the pelvis again, we're going to create a wave all the way up towards the head. The head comes up. The head starts this motion back into rounding, pressing through my shoulders to create that round in my upper back, and then allow that to go all the way down to the lumbar. We've got 3 repetitions here before we try this into plank. And you want to go quite slow. It takes a while to be able to connect to every segment of the spine. So in order to do the plank, you're going to kind of push back into a bear crawl, and then you're creating that wave again. So I'm tucking my pelvis under as I start moving forward into that extension, tucking my chin down, going up into a downward dog, pushing back into my heels. And if that's too advanced, you could always just stay on your knees and continue to do the child wave. So now we're going to stand up. We're going to take a pretty wide position here. We're going to start with just little motions, bending the knee, and then eventually we're going to get deeper and deeper. But for right now, we'll just go from side to side, trying to increase your depth every time you switch positions. So now that you're quite low, one hand's gonna go to the ground, you're gonna open up. We're gonna switch sides, putting that hand down towards that knee, reaching towards the ceiling. So now we're gonna go onto one side here, take the opposite leg, you're gonna start swiveling. So again, this is coming from my femur, not necessarily my foot, although it looks like my foot is reaching towards the ceiling. Do that 5 times, you're gonna switch, doing the same thing, rotating from the femur. So now we're in this position here. What we're gonna do is we're actually gonna sit our butt down. And you're gonna take this leg that's bent and you're gonna fold it in, working that hip internal rotation and bringing it back up. Switching sides. Going to come down onto our butts, turning that knee in and coming back up. So we're going to stop here in the middle, just leaning back, feeling a nice stretch into the adductors. Loosening up that low back. Having your hands here, you're gonna walk your feet in. So what you're gonna do here is you're going to have your knees bent. You're gonna place one hand onto the ground. Then you're gonna take the leg of the hand that's being supported. You're gonna bring that knee through, and now you're sinking into the shoulder. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sink down, have the butt touch, lift yourself up. We've got 3 of those. Now take that foot, come back. So now you're into a squat position again. Take your opposite hand, place it on the ground. You're gonna kick that other leg through. We're gonna sink down into the butt and lift up. So this is showing the shoulder how to support itself. Making sure that the shoulder is stacked over the wrist as you're doing this. And we're gonna do 3 aside here. And you don't have to do as big of a motion, even if you just stood here pressing the ground away, you're creating a lot of strength and stability into that shoulder. And back to the center. So next, grab some objects as targets. I'm going to use toilet paper rolls, but you can use whatever you want. 3 targets around you. You're going to stand on one leg. And what you're going to do is you're going to tap with your hands. So you're going to lean forward. You can bend that knee in order to tap. See if you can touch each one using just your right hand. And then see if you can do the same with just using your left hand. And now take your foot, see if you can tap each one with your foot. And now we're gonna switch feet. So we're gonna do the same thing. Can you touch each one with your right hand? And then can you touch each one with your left hand? Can you touch each one with the foot? And then we'll repeat that one more time per side. And you can always change up the orientation as well. So we're gonna keep those targets around. I'm gonna set a timer here for 30 seconds. So don't worry about the time, I've got it here. We're gonna get started here in 3, 2, and 1. So shuffle and see if you can tap each one, going into a bunch of different directions. Five seconds left. 2 and 1. Good job. All right, as we're allowing that heart rate to come back down, what we're gonna learn is how to go from a bear to a crab. So bear just means that we're up onto our toes, supporting ourselves with the shoulder. Crab, opposite hand, opposite leg. You're gonna twist, come back to center, and twist. Once that gets easy, see if you can do a full 360, and then the other way. Just having fun with this motion, learning how to pivot and swivel on that shoulder joint. Okay, back to center. So we're gonna let that heart rate come down. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bring the ear down to one side, walk this hand away, focusing on the breathing. And then we're gonna repeat on the other side, dropping that ear away, walking that hand down, focusing on controlling the breath. One more each way. So this next one here, we're gonna be working on some power. You're gonna go into a lunge stance and then you're gonna drive that knee up to hop. So what that's gonna look like is driving it down like this. As I come up, I'm hopping onto that one leg. We're gonna do 5 on one side, 5 on the other. We're gonna do that for 2 rounds. So you're stepping back, exploding up. Stepping back, exploding up. And if you can't leave the ground, squeeze the glute as you stand up. Make it explosive, even if you can't hop. Once you've done 5, switch sides. We're doing 2 rounds. Once you've done 5, switch sides again. Really working on that power. And that's 5. So we're gonna go back onto our hands and knees again. And it's gonna be random patterns for 30 seconds. You can crawl on your hands. You can crawl and crab. You can go forwards, backwards, sideways. You can even use the toilet paper as targets, trying to race around them like an obstacle. We have 45 seconds here. I probably said 30 before. Let's do 45. Oh man, this is when people stop following me. So I'm gonna start 3, 2, and 1. And you're playing around with this crawling motion. You can go around the toilet paper rolls. You can switch into crab at any point. You can go sideways, backwards, forwards. That's 30 seconds already. You can play with tempo, going fast, going slow. 3, 2, and 1. Whew. Good job, everyone. So next you're gonna wanna stick something to place into your hips. If you don't have a stick handy, that's okay too. You can go into this stance without anything. So this is very similar to a wall sit, but it's a horse stance. So your feet are quite wide. You're gonna put your stick at your hip bones and you're sinking down, trying to pinch it, and we're gonna hold it here. Now you can do this without a stick, and you can also do it up against the wall. The wall is actually probably gonna be easier because it's gonna support your back. We have 30 seconds here. So I've got the timer here. Get ready in 3, 2, and 1. Nice strong legs, sinking into the hips. Nice tall, proud chest. We got 30 seconds, we're halfway. And stand on up. So next what we have here is that you can grab some blocks just to raise up the hands. Some people can do it on the ground, I can't. I'm using my weights just next to my body in order for me to have something to press into. What I'm doing here is I'm pressing my body up, leaning my body forward, creating compression here. We're gonna hold that for 30 seconds, leaning forward, and begin. So my butt is elevated, I'm leaning forward, pressing my shoulders down, holding this for 30 seconds. Ten seconds left. And lower yourself down. So this next one, we're going to lift the legs up this time. Again, if you need some support underneath your hips in order to press into, that's great. Some people can do it right off the ground. I am not that talented yet. 3, 2, and 1. So I'm pressing down, lifting up my legs, creating compression here. I should feel this in my abs, a little bit into my quads. Making sure to breathe. Ten seconds left here. Hold it. Press those knees out. 2 and 1, bring it down. All right, you're gonna wanna clear some mat space here. So what we're gonna do next here, same thing. We'll do 45 seconds for this one here. So this is just a demonstration. We haven't started our time yet. My arms here is what's going to propel my body forward into a hop. You want it very light. So I'm swinging back, nice and light. You shouldn't be able to hear yourself land. You're gonna place your hands down onto the ground and you're gonna walk yourself back to the starting point, standing back up. Nice quiet hop forward. So grab some water if you need it before we get started here. This time we're going for 45 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. So you're gonna hop forward, touch down, walk yourself back. Make sure that when you're crawling back, you're changing the leg that you're starting with. We don't want to create an asymmetry there. "30 seconds. "5 seconds. 2 and 1. All right, catch your breath again. The next thing we have is an arm balance. We're gonna go into the crow. Practice what you can. We got 45 seconds again. So you guys at home, continue to rest. I'm gonna demonstrate this. So you're into a squat. Your hands are forward. I'm tipping my body over in order for my heels to lift off the ground. So I'm here, leaning forward, trying to get my feet off the ground. If you can hold it for the 30 seconds or 45 seconds, then great. If you had to come out and go back in, great. You could even just go like this and come back down, just even rocking into the hands. Timer starting in 3, 2, and 1. So we're leaning forward here, trying to get those toes to come off. If you can hold for the full 30, next time do 45. And if you have to keep on going in and out, that's okay too. So that's 30 seconds there. Five seconds left. And pause. Good. Shake those arms out. So same thing, you guys keep resting. So the next one, your choice of pike, headstand, or a handstand. It's your choice. So again, this is just demonstration. Time has not started yet. So you can start out in a pike and you can hold that position there. If you want, you can go up onto your head, bring the knees in, use your abs to slowly press up into a headstand. If you can do a freestanding handstand, go ahead. Or you can kick up into the wall and hold it here. This one we'll only do for 30 seconds. So get prepared on what you want to do. We're getting started in 3, 2, and 1. So choose your variation. We've got 30 seconds here. Five seconds left. And slowly come out of whatever position you're in. Remember, you were just upside down, so there might be a little bit of a head rush there. Hitting the next one. This one here we're doing for 45 seconds. We're gonna go into bridge here. Version number 1 is just you looking up towards the ceiling, pushing your hips forward, and then aiming the back of your head towards the wall. If you're finding that easy, you can take your hands, reach back, come back. Reach back, come back. So that's version number 1. Version number 2, you're on your knees like this. You're pushing your hips, creating that back arch. Nice and tall, you can press through the spine. Or if you wish, try to touch the legs. Try to touch the legs. So you're going back and forth from there. If you can go into a bridge, you're gonna lay on your back. Your hands are gonna be by your ears here. You're sending your knees and your hips down towards your feet. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna lift up into a bridge. Now you can stay here. You can do pressing up, or you can just hang out. We're gonna do this for 30 seconds. Now, mind you, these deep back bridges can create a lot of energy, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this right before bed. Otherwise, you're gonna be wired. So, we've got the timer here, which is gonna be hard to see upside down. You've got 30 seconds here working into any variation of that bridge. Take your time getting into it. Ten seconds left. 5 seconds left. 2, 1. Slowly come out of that version. Whew. So as you continue to catch your breath, I'm going to show you what the next movement is. So we're doing a lateral shuffle here. So we're going to come down into a squat. Our hands are going to be placed on the floor. And then we're going to just bring our legs over. So my hand is here, hand, and then I'm scooting my legs over. So I like to pause in a squat before I go again. We're gonna do this for a full minute. There's a bunch of different variations you can do. Some people can go into the center and just hop over. You can go nice and slow and you can cross over the legs, feeling a nice little stretch. Not making it as cardio based. Just play around with it, but we are gonna go from side to side for 1 full minute. 3, 2, and 1. And you can change up your variations as you go. So you can go from fast to slow. You can add in that stretching one. You can even reach behind before you go across. If this is too harsh on the wrist, you can always tent the fingers. Obviously the goal is to have flat hands, but we also don't want to injure ourselves. 3 seconds left. And 1. All right, you guys rest here. I'm gonna show you what the next move is. So the next move is kind of fun. We're gonna be rolling around. So what you're doing here is you're gonna sit your butt down, take that hand, swivel around, come back up. So you're planting, spinning, coming back up. Three, 2, and 1. And we do have a full minute here. If you want, you can actually bring the legs out straight. That's another variation. So sit down, take that leg nice and straight. 5 seconds left. And 1. So again, you guys are resting. I'm gonna demonstrate the next one. What we're doing is a boat roll. So you're trying to make sure that your abs are connected to your pelvic floor, keeping that nice and tight, keeping a hollow body. We're gonna try to spin. So your arms are up top, the legs are down low, squeezing together. I'm gonna show you what that looks like. So you look like this, and we're using our abs to be able to turn over onto our bellies and turn onto our backs. Once we hit our back, we're gonna hug our knee in, go back out, good positioning again, spin, spin, and back in. We have 1 full minute here. If you're not able to spin, you can always just go into a boat pose. You can bend the knees to make it easier. Just any kind of hollow position in order to get those abs. We have 1 full minute here. 3, 2, and 1. Try not to cheat by leading with your arms or your legs. It does help to look in the direction that you're going. Don't cheat with your elbows. Good job, guys. You made it. Full minute. Whew. Who thought mobility work could be like circuit training? So this next one's more for fun. If you're not comfortable with this one, that's okay. You can skip it. What you can do instead, if you'd like, is you can do some rocking back and forth while we do the next drill. So the next drill is 1 minute long. We're going to be doing a back rollover to a front crawl. So what that's going to look like, and be mindful of your neck position, guys, and dogs behind you. So you're going to roll, go onto your hands and feet. We're going to walk through, and then we're going to roll again. 1 full minute. Again, you don't feel comfortable with that, you're just going to create that rocking motion. I'll let you know when 30 seconds goes. So you can do 30 seconds of you rocking back and forth. You can even rock like this. And then you can do 30 seconds where you're rocking back and forth like this. All right, guys, let's get started. 3, 2, and 1. So you're rolling back and then you're crawling forward. That's 25 seconds. That's 30 if you have to switch ways. We're almost there, guys. If you're getting dizzy, you can stop. Ten seconds. 3 seconds. Good job, guys. That's a full minute. All right. Let's pull back into child's pose. I'm sure some of you are a little dizzy. It's just going into a wide child's pose here. Catching the breath. If you want, you can walk your hands from side to side. So as you come up, go really slow. Allow the head to be the last thing to come on up. We're gonna go into that hip flexor stretch, tucking the pelvis under, leaning forward. Hands to the ground. You're gonna lizard the knee out, so that means that my knee is moving away from my body. Bringing that knee back in, taking the hand with the leg in front, you're gonna reach to the ceiling. Bringing that back down, you're gonna twist into the opposite direction now. Now as you come back, you're gonna bring this toes up towards the ceiling, bending forward, feeling it into the hamstring. We're gonna stay on that leg, go into that hip flexor stretch again. We've got 2 sets like this. Then into lizard. Then into trunk rotation towards the knee that's in front. And then away. Walking yourself back as you do that, allow the toes to go to the ceiling, and I'm hinging my body forward. We're gonna switch sides, we're doing the same thing. So we're tucking that pelvis under, we're leaning forward. Going into that lizard where that knee gets to be pulled away. Bringing that leg in, we're gonna twist to the knee that's in front. Twisting away. Leaning back, bringing those toes up. And we're gonna repeat that. So hip flexor stretch first. Lizard pose second. Twisting towards the front knee. Twisting away. Slowly pulling back. Getting those toes to go up towards the ceiling. Sinking the hips back. Feeling a stretch into the hamstring. Next, we're going to go into a spinal twist. 2 options here. You can stay seated, cross one leg over and twist, or you can lay on your back, hugging the knee in and going out to the side. You choose your variation. Now you can stay there as a static hold, or you can keep switching from side to side, just depending on how your spine is feeling right now. And that's the end of today's daily move. Let me know how it went. It was more cardio conditioning style mobility class, so it's a little bit different than what I've posted on this channel before. But if you enjoyed it, I'll give you some more. Have a great day.